poll estimates. About two-thirds of voters saying their major issue is defeating President Trump. More than 75,000 taking advantage of early voting. Also breaking tonight, the intel clash inside the Trump administration. The president's national security advisor telling ABC News he's seen no evidence of Russia trying to help President Trump win the 2020 election. This coming after the president reportedly berated his now former director of national intelligence after his office had said the exact opposite. Also tonight, the images coming in. The deadly bus crash on an American highway. At least 3 people killed and more than a dozen injured. The bus rolling off the road. Global hot zones, the coronavirus spreading, raising fears of a possible pandemic. Hundreds of cases in South Korea. New cases reported in Europe. And the new warnings right here at home. Also tonight, the mother of those 2 missing children under arrest, behind bars in Hawaii. No sign of her children in months. Authorities asking, where are they? Royal rejection, Prince Harry and Meghan responding after Queen Elizabeth shuts down their royal brand. Found alive, rescuers discovering a missing couple more than a week after they disappeared. Authorities had given up hope just 2 days ago, the moment they were pulled to safety.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
And 40 years ago today, Miracle on Ice. We take you back to the iconic moment in American history, one of Team USA's greatest victories ever.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Tom Yamas. And we begin with the breaking news as we come on the air. Results from the Nevada caucus coming in. At this hour, early results showing Bernie Sanders with a double-digit lead. Sanders campaigning late today in El Paso, Texas, a Super Tuesday state. In the second wave of voting, Sanders leading Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, and Amy Klobuchar. A majority of voters, 52%, telling us this is their first caucus. 38% of those voters supporting Sanders, putting him far ahead of the other candidates. About two-thirds saying they want to see a candidate who can beat President Trump. Voters split, though, on that, with Sanders slightly ahead of Biden and Buttigieg close behind. Unlike in New Hampshire, many voters making up their minds before today, plus more than 75,000 taking advantage of early voting. ABC's Rachel Scott is in Las Vegas to lead us off.
Tonight, with entrants polling in Nevada signaling a strong night for his campaign, Senator Bernie Sanders moving on to Texas.
We can win the Democratic nomination. We can defeat Donald Trump. And we can transform this country. Let's do it. Thank you.
Preliminary polling shows the majority of Hispanic and young Nevada Democrats backing Sanders, an important coalition heading into diverse Super Tuesday states like California and Texas, where early voting has begun.
Texas will play an enormous role. If we win here in Texas, Trump is finished.
Today, his competitors for the Democratic nomination fanning out at caucus sites, trying to drum up last-minute support.
It's good to see you. Want to get a picture?
Yes, please. Feels great. We're really encouraged, fantastic energy, and what we've seen both in terms of early vote and now on the day of is an opportunity to really broaden our coalition.
The Nevada Democratic Party reporting a huge early voting turnout. More than 75,000 Democrats participating. According to entrance polls, more than 80% of Nevada Democrats made up their minds early. Nearly 40% of them supporting Sanders. Today's contest critical for former Vice President Joe Biden, who stumbled in Iowa and New Hampshire. Biden telling me no matter what today's results are, he's pushing ahead to Super Tuesday.
I keep running, and I win. Look, I'm not going to get into this, what if I do first, second, third, fifth, ninth, I feel good about where we're going. Let's see where it takes us.
All right, Rachel Scott joins us now live from Las Vegas. And Rachel, Bernie Sanders invested in a big ground game there in Nevada, and it seems to have paid off.
Tom, he had more than 250 paid staffers on the ground. That's the most of any campaign. And health care was a top issue for voters in this state, and it's really been a cornerstone of Senator Bernie Sanders' campaign. His progressive plan for Medicare for All proved to be favorable among voters. According to these early entrance polls, 62% say they support it. Tom?
Rachel Scott from the campaign trail tonight. Rachel, thank you. Now to another breaking headline, the U.S. intel clash over Russia's interference in the 2020 election. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien just telling George Stephanopoulos he's seen no evidence of Russia taking action to help President Trump win re-election. This comes after the president reportedly berated his former director of national intelligence after his office had said the exact opposite. ABC's David Wright is in Washington.
Tonight, the president's national security advisor flatly denies Russia is trying to help President Trump win re-election, contradicting a U.S. intelligence report.
I have not seen that, and I get pretty good access.
Speaking with ABC's George Stephanopoulos in an interview airing tomorrow on This Week, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien claims the former acting director of National Intelligence, Joseph Maguire, got it wrong when his officials briefed the House Intelligence Committee that Russia is trying to help the president.
Are you really saying you've seen absolutely no analysis from the intelligence community showing that one of Russia's aims, just one of Russia's aims, is to favor President Trump? No analysis at all?
No, what I'm talking about, I've seen no intelligence, and I haven't seen that analysis.
President Trump was reportedly furious with Maguire and dressed him down, but O'Brien disputes that, too.
The president was not angry with Joe Maguire. He thinks very highly of Admiral Maguire and would have liked him to stay in government in a different role.
Maguire resigned Friday after being pushed out as director of national intelligence. He's now been replaced by a Trump loyalist, the former U.S. ambassador to Germany, Richard Grenell, who has no intelligence experience. President Trump has tried to discredit the intelligence report from his own administration by claiming Democrats were behind it.
They said today that Putin wants to be sure that Trump gets elected. Here we go again.
The president has instead highlighted reports that Russia is trying to help Bernie Sanders. For his part, Sanders acknowledges he has been briefed by intelligence officials, but has made it clear he does not want Russia's help.
We were told that Russia, maybe other countries, are going to get involved in this campaign. And look, here is the message to Russia. Stay out of American elections.
These latest comments from the president's national security advisor are bound to raise some eyebrows, especially after yesterday's shakeup in the nation's intelligence leadership. There's growing concern here in Washington that the president may be trying to bring the intelligence agencies to heel and turn them into a partisan tool. Tom?
David Wright with that developing story tonight. David, thank you. Tonight, another big story we're following, a deadly bus crash in Southern California. The charter bus rolling off the highway, several people killed, more than a dozen hurt. Some of the passengers thrown from the bus, others trapped inside. Here's ABC's Marcy Gonzalez.
Tonight, first responders on the scene of this horrific, deadly bus crash in Southern California.
Bus rolled several times.
The charter bus losing control along this rain-soaked freeway in Palo Mesa, flipping, landing upside down, ejecting some of the passengers, pinning others inside.
You have multiple victims.
At least 3 people killed, another 18 injured. Rescuers and Good Samaritans rushing to help, facing a challenge pulling people to safety on this slick, steep hillside.
This is the type of scene that our officers have to respond to, and it's one that probably they aren't going to forget.
Officials saying it appears this was the only vehicle involved as they interview the driver to figure out what caused this accident and if weather was a factor.
It was raining at the time of this crash, but again, it's very rare that the rain actually causes any crash.
And tonight, those injured passengers are being treated in several hospitals. Investigators say there were children on board the bus, but they all survived. Tom?
Marcy Gonzalez. All right, Marcy, thank you. Overseas now tonight to the growing fears over the coronavirus. Health officials warning we could be on the brink of a global pandemic. New hot zones reported outside of China, hundreds of cases now in South Korea, and the virus spreading in Europe, and new warning signs tonight for Americans here at home. ABC senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is in Seoul tonight.
Tonight, fears of a possible coronavirus pandemic are growing. Now, a major new outbreak in South Korea, more than 400 cases. Government saying most of them are linked to a single religious sect and a nearby hospital. South Korean officials racing to contain the spread, spraying the streets and testing thousands of people.
So when you get countries like Japan and South Korea that have these cases that are person to person to person without any real ability to point to where it came from, that's the makings of a pandemic.
A new outbreak now developing in northern Italy. A dozen towns on lockdown, churches and businesses closed, and Milan shutting down public offices. As with new outbreaks in the Middle East, many of those infected have no obvious link to China. The World Health Organization says COVID-19 has killed more than 2,300 people, with more than 77,000 cases, and warning that the window of opportunity is narrowing to contain the outbreak. America's top infectious disease doctor warning if the spread doesn't slow, we could see more cases in the U.S.
If this evolves into a pandemic, there's no way we in the United States are going to escape having more infections in this country.
There are 13 Americans under quarantine in this unit in Nebraska, 11 testing positive for COVID-19. All came from that cruise ship in Japan.
All right, Ian Panel joins us now from South Korea. And Ian, I want to focus there on the country you're in right now. What are health officials doing there to stop the rapid spread of this virus?
Well, Tom, they've designated 2 areas as special management zones, and we know that all shops, businesses, restaurants are closed inside there, and the authorities are concentrating on trying to identify anyone connected to this outbreak, testing thousands of people. We've been in touch with 2 American teachers who are based inside the hot zone. They're telling us they have confidence the authorities are on top of this. Tom?
Ian Panel covering the very latest on the coronavirus outbreak. Back here at home to new developments in the case making national headlines. The mother of 2 missing children from Idaho now under arrest in Hawaii, facing charges linked to their disappearance. The children have not been seen since September, their mother refusing to say where they are or if anything happened to them. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Hawaii.
Bail is confirmed in the amount of $5 million.
Tonight, the mother of 2 missing children in a Hawaii jail. A judge denying Lori Vallow's request to lower her $5 million bail. The 46-year-old arrested Thursday, facing multiple charges, including 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of her children.
Lori, can you tell me where your kids are?
Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybill, seen here in court Friday supporting his wife, moved from Idaho to Hawaii after police started asking questions about 17-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old J.J. Vallow, last seen in September. The couple got married in Hawaii 2 weeks after Daybell's previous wife, Tammy, passed away. And police say Vallow's brother killed her estranged husband during a fight last summer. Then her brother died in December. All 3 deaths happening under a cloud of suspicion and growing concern about Tylee and JJ's well-being. Family members say Vallow is part of a religious group led by her husband and that he writes books about the end of the world. Tonight, some friends are fearing the worst.
I'm very worried. She could be not alive. It's really scary.
Tom, the search for those 2 missing children continues tonight. They have not been seen now for 5 months, and there's a lot of talk here in Hawaii about that $5 million bond. Vallow's defense team says she is not a flight risk, but prosecutors contend she has the resources to hide if she is released on bail. Tom?
Have not been seen for 5 months. All right, Marcus, thank you. Now to the royal rejection. Prince Harry and Meghan appearing to push back against Queen Elizabeth. The couple told to drop royal from the name of their new brand, now saying the Queen doesn't have global jurisdiction over that word. ABC's Julia McFarlane is in London tonight.
Tonight, Harry and Meghan appear at odds with the royal family. Formally denied the use of the term royal in their branding, the pair pushed back in an extraordinary statement on their website, writing, "There is not any jurisdiction by the monarchy or cabinet office over the use of the word royal overseas." The Duke and Duchess pointing out they don't legally have to abide by the palace's wishes, but have nevertheless agreed not to use the term royal in any territory. That must mean renaming their popular Instagram account and their soon-to-be-launched non-profit organisation. Harry and Meghan also noted they were being treated differently from other royals, writing, "While there is precedent for other titled members of the royal family to seek employment outside of the institution, for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, a 12-month review period has been put in place."
They very much wanted to continue to represent the Queen in some capacity, and to be told that they can't do that alongside not being able to use the name of the royal is a massive blow for them.
The Sussexes still have a number of royal engagements before their exit from official duties this spring, with March 31st being the last day they represent the Queen in official capacity. Tom?
Julia, thank you. Next tonight, back here at home, the new storm building in the southwest. Heavy rain and possible flooding sweeping across the country. Millions of Americans, though, now getting a break from freezing temperatures. Let's get right to ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Tom. It's a good news, bad news situation in the weather arena.